Hello, and welcome to our session, Controlling the Chaos, Digital Asset Mastery with Workfront and Adobe. My name is Erik Ingebrigtsen, and I am the Director of Solution Consulting at Hoodoo Digital. I'm presenting alongside Creighton McEwen, who is the Group Studio Manager for Adobe Studio. In this session, we will discuss how Adobe enhanced their existing content creation and distribution process by using Workfront tools for AEM by Hoodoo, which creates a cohesive solution for connecting Workfront's work management and organization platform with Adobe's Experience Cloud. Specifically in this project, we integrated with Adobe Experience Manager Assets, more commonly called AEM Assets. For those of you who aren't familiar, AEM Assets is the industry-leading digital asset management system at the center of the Adobe Experience Cloud. The structure for the presentation will start with Creighton giving some context about their previous process and toolset of the Adobe Studio, some of the pain points they faced, and some details on the targeted solution that we have created together. After Creighton, I will go through the features of Workfront tools by Hoodoo and how it can help enhance the connection between Workfront and AEM Assets to take advantage of the strengths of each system to bring about digital mastery for Adobe Studio. Creighton?
Thanks, Erik. So let me start by introducing who we are, what my team is, what we do, where we fit within the marketing landscape here at Adobe. As you can expect with any large enterprise organization, we're a big group, lots of marketers, lots of people. And marketers diffused across several functions, several segments, teams, roles, all with very specific duties. And our team, the Adobe Studio team, sits in the middle of all of that. We're the in-house creative team. We have experienced designers, copywriters, video producers, and editors, among lots of other specialized functions. And my team runs the operations for the group. We manage the systems, processes, the tools, it's the how we work. And we also manage the work. We're the account management point of contact for the marketing teams that we support. We manage the projects, the engagements. We manage all the content and assets that are output from the projects. So we're the team responsible for organizing the chaos, and there's always chaos. The marketers across Adobe are creating all of these amazing digital experiences for our customers and things that I'm sure all of you have all seen across the landscape of marketing. And ours is the team of content and asset creators that satisfy the needs of those experiences. And so we're the ones partnering very closely with the marketers and creating all the content and marketing assets that end up published in market. And it's been an evolution for our team as we've grown from a creative services team where imagine a marketer throwing a request over the fence and then we throw the asset back over the fence, and there isn't a whole lot of collaboration happening in there. And we've evolved more toward a creative partner organization, working very closely with the marketers in the experience making process. We collaborate on the briefs, we own the creative strategy, and we have a deep influence in how the work gets done and what the work looks like. So that's the setting, and I'm sure not very unfamiliar with many large enterprise marketing organizations. So then here are the primary things that we deal with when we're trying to organize chaos and the pain points that we were trying to solve specifically when we looked at our own ecosystem of tools and processes and the things that we felt like we needed to address. We knew that we had non-transparent processes resulting primarily from how we had architected previous systems. And wanting to control our own team's creative processes, we overcorrected and we created a black box for ourselves where we didn't let anybody in, we didn't let anybody see how we were operating. And that created all sorts of problems and non-transparency factors. And our partner teams didn't know how we worked, didn't know what to expect, didn't know when to expect delivery, didn't know how to engage, didn't know how to collaborate. And then on the other side of that, we weren't reporting either. We weren't reporting what we were doing. So some of that lack of transparency was because of the tools we were using. And when thinking about going to Workfront, we knew that we needed a tool that could satisfy all these needs. Transparent and robust reporting, enterprise work management, resource utilization views and management, asset management, all the things that you'd expect from a tool to manage all of the work from that an enterprise creative team would need. And that's what we're talking about primarily in the session today. So things also got complicated for us when Adobe made a couple of acquisitions within the last couple of years, Magento and Marketo. And with those acquisitions came their existing in-house creative teams, and they were integrated into our group, and they were integrated as is into our group. And with them, they brought their own legacy processes and tools. And as soon as they were integrated, more chaos to manage. We were managing work in lots of different ways across 3 different project management platforms. Teams weren't sure how to engage. Internally, our own team was diffused across multiple systems. It became totally impossible for us to understand the work that we were doing, how much of it we were doing, who was doing what, where it all lived. And so we also saw that it was impossible to know where all the content and assets were at. We were sharing files via Creative Cloud or individuals' own Creative Cloud accounts, Dropbox. We transfer links which expire, or we were even worse, repurposing file share links from our own agency partners. And so while on one hand we were documenting these various disparate links in our project management tool, but each time we needed to reference something and go back and see something old or revisit it or redistribute it, we crossed our fingers and cringed and hoped that the links would still be active and that the assets would still be on the other side. So it was a complex mess of how we were managing assets and how we were distributing them to our marketing partners. So all of these things contributed to our needing to revamp how we work. So we set a vision, and we call the vision the vision of our tool ecosystem, our creative tech stack. We needed to upgrade, consolidate, unify, and optimize the tools that we use to manage our work and our content. For work management, we landed on Workfront. We've had a close relationship with Workfront over the past, at least 10 years, back to the ATTAS days. And even though we weren't using them at the time, we knew that Workfront could satisfy all the functionality requirements that we had in being able to track the things that were important to us. And we needed a singular platform for enterprise asset management too. We already had Adobe Experience Manager, we're Adobe after all, and we were using it to some extent, but we weren't using it well. It's admittedly a pretty heavy product, which is required for an enterprise grade platform and enterprise team. And our own adoption of the tool and our onboarding to the platform was pretty weak. So over the last year, we rebuilt it and we rethought how we were organizing our content. And we upgraded to the latest release of AEM so that we could get current on the feature set and really start to become customer zero for our own product and start to inform the direction that our product team was taking AEM Assets. And so we've made a lot of progress there in being able to inform the direction that the product takes. So we set Workfront and AEM at the center of our creative tech stack, one for managing work, one for managing assets. And we're singularizing all of the processes and workflows we use around them so that work activity and people activity primarily happens there. And so what we're talking a lot about here today is how we've connected the two together. We've now got Workfront plugged into AEM for easy asset publishing to AEM directly from Workfront projects, which was one of the very primary requirements we had when starting to look at things. We needed those two things, the work management and the asset management, to be very closely related. And so it's a big win for us when we recently got that working, and we'll be demoing that here in a little bit. And that's just the start of what we've got happening within the creative tech stack. We've got a roadmap plan for all the things that includes integrating our tools across all the different ways we're working, but we've got those two pieces at the center. But what we've been doing over the last year, and particularly the last 6 months, hasn't been really that easy. We've learned a lot. The first thing that we learned is that taxonomy is super hard. Traditionally, when we build platforms, we build them through the lens of those individual platforms. So you build that thing for that thing. And that was the ecosystem that we started with, working with products that were built with those individual user stories and those individual requirements, and we were managing them independently. And for AEM, it's a platform built to meet the needs of all the content in Adobe, not just what our team supports and creates. It's a large ecosystem of content creators across a global organization. And with that comes heavy taxonomy and metadata requirements. So when we added the connector between Workfront and AEM, we had to really think strategically about when and where all the metadata requirements for individual assets were captured. So we broke it up, and Erik will show you this a little bit. We're documenting metadata across the entire project lifecycle, from when requests come in, the creation and management of the project, to the handling of individual assets. All of the data required is being captured and consolidated to attach to all the assets during the publishing process. It all happens throughout the entire project lifecycle, and we've broken it up in really strategic ways, which makes the asset publishing process less of a load for my team to carry, which was always the blocker for publishing assets to AEM in the past for my team, was because of how heavy the process was for individuals to publish assets. And then the words are hard too. As we're connecting disparate systems, we were forced into an exercise which admittedly we were definitely probably avoiding. Getting real definition around what we call things and how we organize things, calling the same things in all the same places, so that systems could speak the same language and talk to each other seamlessly without anything breaking. And then another major thing in the change management is getting people to work in new unified ways. It involves breaking down silos, being open to more transparent processes and engagements. In some ways, what we did was relieving to a lot of people because we made it clear how to engage us. We unified to one platform where we were previously using 3, so we consolidated a bunch of workflows and processes across how we work for all the people, and that was a relieving process for a lot of people. But hard in a lot of other ways because changing how many people work and teams work is often daunting and often really daunting for creative teams. But we're getting there, continually evolving and improving, and we've learned a lot over the last few months to take into those future phases of development in our ecosystem. So that's it. Back to you, Erik, for detail on what's going on with how we've connected Workfront and AEM.
All right, thank you, Creighton. So getting into, first, at a high level, the diagram of what Workfront Tools for AEM is. Essentially, Workfront Tools is a bridge that gaps between Workfront and Adobe Experience Manager. It's architected for flexibility and extensibility using a robust infrastructure of API calls and event subscriptions. Those API calls and event subscriptions pass information from Workfront over to AEM, and then a series of custom workflow steps and API calls back to Workfront allow for a bidirectional flow of information between the two platforms. And this really gives the opportunity to tailor each project and each implementation for each client that is using the Workfront tools for AEM because of this infrastructure that is available and the different workflows that are needed for each individual business case. So before I get into a demo, I also want to just highlight some of the features that this infrastructure provides. Some of the features that help to drive creative operations are the automatic mapping of AEM folders from the structure that is input into Workfront. That information can, at the click of a button, create the link and then build out a structure of folders within AEM that will lend to the organization of your project, holding all of your assets so they're easily searchable and findable. And being able to fill out that information and send that from Workfront over to AEM helps to create campaigns automatically. That information flows with just a single click, and someone entering that information can have that passed over to AEM and kickstart the work in progress for each campaign. And then within those campaigns, there are multiple assets going into each of those, and the versions and the renditions that need to be supported as each of those assets are being added to and being combined with other assets. That information going back and forth lends to being able to support those and have all of the copies of each of the files that are needed. And then along that, being able to easily organize and share metadata is important as the fields are input within Workfront or within AEM. That gets attached to each asset, and it also can be attached to the folder at a project level, which is metadata that stays with that asset or with that project. So that can be entered in Workfront and passed over into a metadata schema in AEM, and then it can also be input into that schema in AEM and passed back over to Workfront, so those two systems stay in sync with all that information. And that's how that bidirectional asset and metadata sync happens, is being able to input it in both places and both have our system of record, depending on if you are a creative and working with your assets and you're over in AEM, or you are a project manager and you're spending more of your time in Workfront. Both will see updated information. And then being able to have that link between the two, you can take the URL from a Workfront project and put that into AEM as metadata, and then take the AEM folder and put that link into Workfront. So you have easily accessible navigation links that can get you back and forth between the two without having to jump out of your browser or go to a different window. You can just easily sync and get back and forth between the two. And then finally, these features are enabling the custom workflow steps that help to push the project forward. Being able to map custom forms from Workfront to AEM allows for that tailored information for each project to be input and that can be stored on each asset level and moved over. And when that gets over to AEM, anybody that's working within AEM can have any action or work with an asset, and that can take a task and have that created and pushed back over to Workfront. And so they're driving off of each other to help the entire project move forward. And then finally being able to publish your assets from Workfront all the way through AEM into the published server. That saves time, and that saves the effort of someone needing to coordinate that process of having it reviewed within the asset repository and then published. It can be done by a single action of uploading an asset into Workfront, having that published all the way through. So after talking through those features, let's get into the demo of how we implemented Workfront tools for Adobe Studio. So we'll walk through a use case of the intake form that we created for them, and then how that got published all the way to their published server brand portal. Starting with the demo, I have a project here that has already been gone through the intake process. A marketing partner has filled out a form with the custom fields that are needed to input all this information. And I want to highlight some of the fields here before we move the progress forward, just to show that up here we have the basic information that comes with most Workfront projects. But with this intake form, we have some custom fields that are down here that I want to show. A couple of these, the target audience industry, you can see there are multiple selections here. Some of these only have one. These are all required and custom fields in the intake process. And then coming down to this year, this will be important as we're building out that folder structure when we sync with AEM. And then also the Experience Cloud subfolder, where we've selected, this project was selected as a web experience. And so that will also form the organization within AEM and build out the structure that's needed. So with all of these fields completed, and with the things that we need to create a project, as a project manager, I would come in and I would review this intake form, and if everything is there, has all the information that's needed, I can come up here and change the status to in progress. And come over here to the Documents tab and creates the Leap Session Demo, the name of our project. And just by changing that status, it created the link over to AEM and automatically built out a couple of layers of folders that every project will have. We built them standard into the folder creation structure, and you can see that they're here, they're empty, and they're ready to start adding assets to drive this project forward. So I come in here, I'll have this folder empty. Now as a creative, I would come in and I can add assets from a number of different ways. I'm going to come and grab an asset from my local and drag it in here. And as that uploads, I want to select this asset and add a few more custom fields that are specific to this asset. So if I select here, come over to the custom forms and choose asset form, I can give this a different title if I needed to. I'll stick with MTB1. I'm going to add Creighton as the asset owner, and then choose the asset type that this will be. So these are all custom fields attached to a custom form, and this is going to be metadata that moves over with our asset and stored in AEM. So if I choose this and I save it, now I'm going to jump over to our AEM interface. And I'll refresh because now we have a new project, we have a new asset, and within the Experience Cloud root folder, we chose web as the experience, and the year was pulled from the date that we created this to be 2020. And then within here, we have our Leap Session Demo project. This is the project that we just created. It linked over to AEM, built out a folder. I can select this folder and go look at the properties. Come look at the folder metadata. These are all the fields that were filled out in that intake process from the marketing partner. You can see some of these had multiple selections as far as the languages needed to be supported. Some just had one for like a region or the customer journey stage. And then when we attached the asset form, we had some keywords that were attached there. And then we'll go in and we'll take a look at the asset that moved over, and that will have the asset specific information on here as well. Down at this art level, here's the asset that we uploaded. Select this, look at the properties. And now we've got Creighton, who we selected as the asset owner. We selected the asset type, and we put in the asset title that we wanted here. And again, it keeps all the information that was at the project level down here on the asset level as well. Language supported, region, product, all the other important metadata that needs to be attached to this asset to be searchable and to be used in the appropriate places. So that's how you can see how that information flows from Workfront by simply filling out the form and the asset, and then the metadata moves over with it. So now at this point in the process, once you have all of your assets uploaded into AEM, I'm going to come back over to Workfront and just go to the tasks here, and we'll say that we have finished this creative development task. I'm going to come over here and mark it as all the way done. And once all the tasks are complete in a project, we can change this project to be complete. And then once this is moved to complete, this is triggering an action to publish this asset to Brand Portal, which is the publish server that Adobe Studio uses to be able to distribute their assets wherever needed, both internally and externally. They can be found here, and we'll come and update. So that happened, so that we can update it, and that asset came over as that publish event pushed it up to Brand Portal. We'll open up web. It follows the same folder structure as within AEM. We have our Leap session demo right here. And we'll come all the way over and see the asset that we attached right here. And now it's sitting in Brand Portal and ready to be pushed out and used anywhere that is needed. And that project can be marked as complete and done. So that's the process that we implemented for Adobe Studio. And the marketing tools has a number of features and capabilities that we're working with and we have on roadmap items for Adobe Studio. And one of them that I want to highlight is the link between the Creative Cloud and Experience Cloud, specifically with AEM Assets. And that's being able to work within your Creative Cloud products through Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign. You can keep the creative designers in those creative applications, and they can upload their content straight into Workfront, and that will also put it straight into AEM, and that's just an easy way to get those assets there. So to show that, I'm going to open up Photoshop. And within my Photoshop window here, I want to find the project that I want to add my assets to. So I can come in here and I can search. I'll just search for Leap. We'll find the Leap session project right here. There's a subfolder here within source files, and I can have this available here. And so now if I want to open up a file and put it in here, I'm going to, within Photoshop, come and open up the file that I need. So it's going to open up my local window here. And I'll find the asset that I want to add, and I'm going to open that here. So once I've got my asset added here, let's say this could be my final asset that I want to get uploaded into the folder. I can go in and I can make a change here, and let's say we want to have this look like it's a little bit more of a, maybe a little more of a red tint, more of a sunset view. Let's see, asset views, change it a little bit there. And so if I come and save my changes, and then I'm ready to upload this into this project folder, I'll hit upload asset. And then as soon as this gets uploaded, it's showing here in Photoshop. I can update here in AEM. And then I can also come over here into the documents of this project that is linked here, let this update, and then it should show in this folder as well. Just by uploading it into Photoshop, I now have it in Workfront and I have it in AEM. As simple as that. So you can keep your creative team working in their creative products, and they don't have to come into Workfront or AEM to get their files uploaded into here. So this image right here could go to approval. It can be reviewed, and someone can come back and say, we need to make some changes to this asset. So I can open my Photoshop back up. And I've got this asset right here. So if I go ahead and check it out, I now have it checked out, and I can come and work with this asset and make whatever changes I need to. So if I come and we'll make it, let's see, black and white, say maybe that's the effect that we want to have. We've got this image now looking with maybe a different look and feel. So if we want to use it somewhere else with this black and white, we can make the change. And then I'll come back, I'll save the changes here. And then I'll go ahead and check it back in. Let it check back in. If I refresh here, you can see now that it has updated in Workfront to be a black and white thumbnail. And we can come look here and refresh this, and we also have the black and white version over here as well. So it's that easy to make changes, and you can push it from asset link straight over into both systems that easy. And then another feature that makes it really nice to get your assets into AEM and make them very searchable and categorized together is the smart tagging feature that Adobe Assets offers using the Sensei capability. So if this asset we just added here, if I come and look at the properties, we will have some smart tags that were added. I didn't come in and add these myself. The image was scanned, and these smart tags were added. If you look at the asset image that we have here, it's landscape, nature, maybe pick this up being in Arizona. The orientation is portrait. So this is a great use case for if you have a repository where you can have a lot of images and you need to be able to look for categories or be able to find an asset. You don't know exactly what you want, but you can search a tag and you can find based off of that. The smart tagging feature is very helpful in being able to identify assets that you can use within your campaigns. And that works easily with Asset Link, or you can upload them straight from your local, and it can tag those, and you have those showing in AEM and in Workfront as well. And then finally, this Workfront tools, it's supported on all of the versions that are out of AEM right now, and including the new AEM as a cloud service environment as that's rolling out and becoming more used, and the latest environment that Adobe is pushing, this is supported on that as well. So great support and being able to get these tools and keep up to date with the AEM as a cloud service and all of the latest updates that come with that. So to summarize the use case we have shown today, Workfront is an innovative tool that provides visibility and brings organization to the chaotic process of work management. Adobe Experience Manager Assets provides a powerful asset storage and distribution platform that is the center of the Adobe Experience Cloud. We were able to combine the strength of these two platforms into one seamless user experience and bring simplicity to complexity. Workfront tools for AEM allows users working within Workfront to stay in Workfront, AEM users to stay in AEM, all while getting the benefits of both platforms. It becomes a tool that systemizes your manual processes into an automated approach and ensures everyone in your organization has the visibility to the process they need. Adobe Studio has implemented Workfront tools for AEM and is focusing their efforts on producing valuable content instead of spending time worrying about manual business processes. They've been able to control the chaos and master their digital assets. Thank you for watching our session. If you have any questions or would like to see more from Hoodoo or the Workfront tools for AEM connector, please visit our website, hoodoo.digital, to contact us. Thank you.